We're going to bring up in a moment Chris Cade, and Chris Cade is an amazing man, somebody I've just gotten to know, and I've heard so much about him. Jonathan says hi, and Jonathan knows him, and we have a lot of connections. You know, when you do the LinkedIn or you do the Facebook, and you realize we have like 125 connections, like, wow, how's that? But Chris is an amazing entrepreneur, online marketing expert, Facebook expert, and a man with a real golden heart, meaning he really wants to do work that is meaningful, supporting conscious entrepreneurs like you. So he and I are very aligned in that way of doing good in the world. You know, what's the good that we want to bring? And he's got particular knowledge and expertise in his own arena that are helping people like you to really launch their message out into the world in a bigger way and have a bigger impact. So I'm super excited to have you here. Thank you for coming all the way down, and he's coming from Sacramento area. So welcome, Chris Cade. Give him a standing O. Give him a standing O. Come on, stand up.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction, Chris.
Yes, you're welcome.
And you know, just to give a little background before I start, I did a product launch about a decade ago in the spiritual development, personal growth industry. And prior to that, I had some websites and didn't really know how to reach people. And I heard this guy say, hey, you know, if you build a list, then you can make more money because you can serve people over and over. So what I did then was I learned how to build a list. And so for the last 10 years, I've experimented with everything under the sun. Google, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, joint ventures, product launches. I've kind of done it all. And as Chris said, it's in the spirit of service, right? I want to help people. So when I think about this list that I'm building, it is about who am I serving? How am I reaching them? They're not just a number of thousands. They are individual people who reply back and say, thank you so much for this email, for this course, for whatever it is. So that's kind of the background on how I came to this place. And so what I'm teaching today isn't because I go out and I do this for other people. I have a couple clients that I've taken on because they've asked me to, not because this is what I put myself out there. This is what I'm sharing today is because it's what I've learned to get to this point. So with that in mind, I'm just curious, who here has actually done a Facebook ad before?
Oh, you have?
And good. Okay, so who has done, say, more than $5,000 of ads? Okay, so we're gonna have some fun. And the reason why I wanted to get that framing is because Chris wanted me to start with a groundwork of kind of just the lay of the land of Facebook ads. So part of what this will cover may be basic. It's a few just ad types and things like that. Part of it is also going to be cool strategies and what you can really do to move the needle, to serve better, and to get your costs on ads down. So with that in mind, let's move forward because this is kind of what people think Facebook ads looks like, right? I mean, it's this crazy weird thing that when you try and do it, you go, well, I clicked that, and I got some people here, but nothing worked there, and there's 10 ad types, and tons of ways to target. Where do you start? What do you do, right? So that's what people think. Now, today, as you can imagine, coming after lunch and a whole weekend of working, you're probably like, Facebook ads? No, don't put this in my brain right now, right? It's overwhelming after lunch. I get it. So we're gonna make this a little bit more fun, okay? And I'm gonna stop standing in front of that so you can actually see what I'm doing. So this is what Facebook ads really looks like. Yes?
We also turn down the lights a bit.
Oh, yeah, I can.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Good call.
Yeah. I know how blinding that can be looking right at the lights and you're like, I can't focus. So this is what Facebook ads looks like when you actually understand what you're doing and how to connect with people. And you know, today I'm not here to teach you how to do Facebook ads, okay? That's something you can learn anywhere, okay? Honestly, a monkey can do Facebook ads, point, click. There's some great resources I will point you to. But what I do want you to grasp is how to think about Facebook ads. Because when you know how to think about it, then you know how to serve, then you know how to reach, then you know that all the strategies, tactics, and the how-tos will fit really well with who you are and how you're gonna serve. So this is kind of my big tagline is how to make non-spammy Facebook ads that people are grateful to share, like, and comment on, right? As Chris said, I'm here to serve. I don't want a Facebook ad out there that people go, this is garbage. This is another thing in my feed. Hide it. Yes, people are going to hide ads. They do that no matter what. But I want the default response to be appreciation. And so what you're going to learn today is how to do that. How do you frame your ads? How do you frame your thinking in ways that will actually connect? So here we have a man that changed my life. His name is Bill Harris. He was featured in The Secret. He founded the Centerpoint Institute. He recently passed away. But he changed my life and the lives of many of my friends without even knowing it. And what happened was there was a launch, and it was for a spiritual program called Project Yourself. And here I was emailing my list, and I'd gotten about 1,500 subscribers from my list onto this launch. Bill, as you can see, was 150 leads ahead of me. And I had already mailed my list multiple times. And I thought, what am I going to do? I mean, there's good money in this contest. I mean, there was money. So yes, I like to serve, but when you're 150 leads away, the money's kind of appealing, okay? Let's make no mistake about it. So I was wondering, what can I do? And I thought, well, what if I took some of what I've done with my own business in Facebook ads and I applied it to this launch? What could be possible? I'd never really done Facebook ads for someone else's launch. So it's kind of a proof of concept. Could this work for someone else, not just for me? And the results came out with me sending 24,000 opt-ins in a matter of about 3 weeks.
Wow.
I won. And if you've heard of Mind Movies or numerologist.com, you can see just from the numbers, I had almost double what they had combined. That made me go, there's something to this. There's something about making non-spammy ads that can actually work. So, here, if you just want to look at the numbers, I spent $13,000 on Facebook ads and got them 27,000 leads. So a cost per lead of 50 cents is pretty darn good. But on top of that, 2,500 people shared this. Almost 10,000 likes on this post. Okay, that's an ad, right? This is a straight out ad. We're not talking inspirational content, anything like what I love to put out there. This is just a straight ad. So I said, what if I could do this again? Okay, because there were all these launches in the industry. I didn't have a big list, but I knew how to reach people. So I thought, could this be reproduced for not just my funnel or someone else's? Could it be done elsewhere? What I found, this was that particular launch. It was a self-paced spiritual course, priced at $297, okay? Then I tried it again. Jennifer McLean, she does Healing with the Masters, in case any of you have heard of that. I sent her almost 34,000 leads in a matter of about 3 weeks at a price point of $97. So I figured out it could work for telesummits. It could work for spiritual courses. It also works for Sonia Riccati's Overcoming Adversity course, priced at $300. I didn't do so well in the sales rank there, but I certainly did great on the opt-ins. Chandler Bolt went a totally different direction. I said, could this work in internet marketing? A niche that I knew the guy, I liked the guy, I met him at a mastermind, a live event, but I had never, really done anything in that zone. So I built my own Kindle bestseller, launched it with his system, became a bestseller, thought, hey, I could promote this in authenticity, in reality to my audience. Again, 8,000 leads at a price point of 1,000 plus, depending on what package they purchased. So it worked. Then I said, what about a year-long life coach certification program? Right? So now we've got something totally different than anything else at a price point of 4,000 plus. Again, I rocked it. Okay, so the point being here is not that I can do this, it's that you can do it. Okay, it's that this is not rocket science. There's a formula and it works. So if you just kind of look at that whole thing, we're talking what? 70,000 leads to other people's funnels and just crushing it on a variety of price points. So no matter what you're selling, you can make this work for you in some way. And there's always a different strategy. We're not going to go into all of the different strategies, but we will talk about some of the core ones that you can use to reach people. Now, here's what we look at when we see ads that I'm putting in. People saying, sign up, our sign, right? Divine universe, right timing. These are the things, 102,000 likes on an ad, okay? 38,000 shares nearly, and definitely what I needed at this point in my life. Okay? This is what I want for your ads. Okay? This is what I want people to respond to, because you're here to change the world. I know that, because I'm here to do that too. And for me, my energy is an advocate. I love to advocate for good things in the world. And now I'm advocating for you to make a difference in other people's lives. You know, we can look at this, you know, so what is it you need to do after this weekend, right? Because I already said I'm not going to teach you how to do it, not the push button stuff, how to think. So what you should do after this weekend, not that, as much as you're going to want to after all this weekend and taking everything in. No, don't go do that. I'm going to teach you what to do that's free, cheap, and what is a wise investment. These are resources that I have no vested interest in. I've done a ton of affiliate marketing. I've made most of my money doing that. None of that here. This is all what you can do for free. So Frank Kern, have any of you heard of Frank Kern? So he's kind of the king of internet marketing. You know, he is brilliant at everything, and he's tried everything under the sun. What I want you to do is find Frank Kern on Facebook and start watching his videos, because what he does is brilliant. He delivers great content to his ideal prospect. Then he follows up with them. Instead of doing an email funnel, he does a Facebook video ad funnel. And he keeps walking you through great content until finally he has an offer to make for you. And I don't think you necessarily need his $38,000 offer, which is what's at the end of that, because I followed that. But if you follow that process and read the sales page, read every word on that sales page, it will open your eyes. It's just brilliant. One of the best pieces of marketing I have seen in modern times. And he's only been doing this in the last 3 weeks. This is really new for him. Google DM Lab dollar trial. Okay? Digital marketer, they have a dollar trial to their DM Lab. It gives you tons of execution plans. Normally priced $7 to $47 to $97, but for $1, you can get in there and they have a Facebook ad execution plan. You're nodding your head. So what would you say about that? You've been through it, or you know it?
I have digital marketers, you know, I'm a member.
Their lab, yeah.
All their execution plans are very detailed and step by step and very useful on the Facebook, you know.
Perfect. So there you go. First-hand testimonial. Go get DM Lab, do the dollar trial. Even if you don't keep it after the first month, go through the Facebook ad execution plan. It will teach you step by step so that you can reproduce what they do in their company, generate tens of millions of dollars. The third thing, and there's a URL there. I can get you the slides afterwards. No big deal. Chris has those. The third thing is this guy, Kurt Malley. He does Social Media Ad Genius 2.0. I met him a few years at a mastermind, and we always get together and our brains just start, churning together to figure out what we can do. And he is all about using Facebook Live. And even this image here, he's celebrating 1,000 likes. But in his video, he actually mocks that because he realizes that likes aren't what move the needle. Okay? Likes look nice for social proof, but when it comes to actual making product sales, likes on your page don't matter all that much. But he teaches you what does. So, between DM Lab talking about how to set up the ads and Kurt talking really about how to frame an entire video campaign, he will take you way deeper than what I'm covering today. So what I'm covering today is like the tip of the iceberg. Kurt, he just lives this stuff. He loves this stuff. An amazing human being, testimonial to how phenomenal the human being is. He actually got kicked off of Facebook a few years ago. And it sounds like the worst thing in the world, right? Well, he got kicked off due to someone in Facebook randomly thought he had an inappropriate relationship with someone else regarding knowledge he had about how Facebook worked. He got a letter randomly one day saying, you cannot touch anything Facebook at all, period. Can't even log in. They deactivated his account. He was blown away. This is like cease and desist to the nth degree. What did he do? Well, he stepped back. He, instead of making other accounts and trying to log in, he coached people and he watched what they were doing and he coached them on what was actually working without touching a thing. 2 years later, he finally got welcomed back into having a Facebook account. He was allowed to advertise. He's now back and went to Facebook headquarters and has wonderful relationships with Facebook. So when it comes to someone who knows more, he knows more about Facebook than anyone I know. Not just advertising, but how it works and the inner workings of it. But his integrity level, at no point did he ever say, I'll try and circumvent the system. He lost his entire life of what he thought his professional career was, and he still came back. So I speak the highest of him and the resources he has. So those are the 3 things you want to do after this weekend. So let's talk about the harsh reality of Facebook advertising. Okay, that's what most people want to do when they think about Facebook advertising, when they get in there, when they start clicking the buttons, they just want to take that thing and chuck it. It's brutal and it can be really tough. I have spent $250,000 in the last 10 years learning what I'm teaching you. And I have had those moments where Facebook changes things and you go, what do I do now? Okay. Now, the good news is when you learn what I'm about to teach you, cash cow, right? No, not really, sorry. Not gonna hype it up like that. That's not me, okay? I'm not gonna do that to you. But what will happen is you'll learn to coexist with Facebook. You'll play the way it works and connect with your subscribers in ways that feel good, okay? So I'm not gonna teach you the $1 million in a week strategy. I'm gonna teach you the thing that really connects you with other people through this Facebook platform. So, at a high level, there's 3 structures. And the reason I'm covering this is because there's a certain mindset appropriate for how these things come into play. So we have a campaign, an ad group, and an ad. And a campaign, that's just your overall objective. Are you trying to get clicks? Are you trying to get leads? Do you want people to watch your videos? That's all a campaign is. It's just saying, what is the objective? Now, within a campaign, you can have any number of ad groups. This is your targeting. Women 35 up, interested in home-based businesses. Okay, you might also have entrepreneurs interested in aromatherapy. There could be any number of things. And you can have as many of these within a campaign as you want that all have the same goal. So they all might be trying to get views on your video or clicks to your website. Then we have the ad. And this is how you actually connect with your prospect. This is what you say to them, what you show them. This is the actual ad. And you can have any number of ads within an ad group. And I'll leave it at that because Digital Marketer will give you all the details, okay, on what to do with that and all that. But this gives you a framework for where we're going. So that's kind of the high level, just one pager. Again, you don't need to memorize this or write it down. I'll get you the slides because I know how frustrating it can be to try and get everything. And don't worry, we'll pick it up in a minute for you too, because it'll get a little more exciting. So there's basic ad types: links, images, videos, leads, and carousel. They all have a different place in what you do. So again, you don't need to memorize it, but know that you have a lot of options, a lot of different ways to connect with your prospect. This is a link ad, and this is actually the one I used to get 27,000 leads into a meditation course, right? Just a heads up, your free 9-day meditation experience has begun. Thousands have signed up, 9 free guided meditations in days. I had a typo there and it still did great. 9 free meditations in days. How many? It's actually 9 days. I hope you're up for the challenge, that you'll join us. You can see it's a very straightforward ad. There's no manipulation, no, trying to tell anything other than a very simple thing. I want to give you this great thing. And that's what you're all trying to do, is give great things. We have image ads. If any of you are familiar with the Course in Miracles, you may have the book. That's what it's like to read the book. This is a funny meme that really resonated with my audience. But what is the ad? It's that little line above that says, get it for free at this URL. Okay, so a link ad, or an image ad like this, you can still throw a link at the top of it. You don't have to, but you can. You have Frank Kern's video ads. Again, watch him. You'll see brilliant video marketing in action. We have lead ads. It looks just like a link ad, okay? And here I'm just telling people to get A Course in Miracles. The difference between a link ad and a lead ad, and this is pretty relevant, is that a lead ad opens in Facebook. It doesn't go to your landing page. It auto-fills their name and their email address. So for mobile users who have trouble typing, it auto-fills. It's so easy for them just to click 2 clicks and they get on your list. The downside is you have to have some integrations and some plugins to make it work. But I do a lot of lead ads right now with mobile on the rise. Then we have carousel ads. This is an ad for my Miracle store where I sell inspirational mugs and stuff like that. Usually there would be multiple mugs and you click right and you just see all the different things someone offers. This is great if you offer multiple things that appeal to the same audience. I don't do a lot of that personally, because for the Course in Miracles and information products, I do a lot of leads and link clicks.
Question?
Yes,
Can you go back to that?
of course.
So carousel ad means that the picture scrolls?
Yes, if you look at that little arrow on the right, underneath BMIR, there's a little right arrow. You press that, you'll see 4 or 5 different mugs, and you just keep clicking it. And each one says, what it is on the bottom and a different tagline. Yeah, you bet.
These are
Yes.
actually in the scroll down on Facebook,
Yep.
not in the ads that go down the.
Correct. This is right in the middle.
Okay.
And any,
I've got an
yeah.
ad blocker for Facebook, and
Right.
I don't see anything.
yeah, that's some people, that's great. And that may make it hard for you to reach people like that. I don't know how AdBlock works with stuff that's in this feed, but I could ask you, when you see Facebook, do you see any ads that are in the stream scrolling down? Then it may not be blocking it then. Yeah, it may be getting through. So, the real question is, what does Facebook want? Because if you give Facebook what it wants, it'll give what you want, which is to reach more people and reach them successfully. They want everyone to get along, okay? Puppies and kitties, they want us all to get along, okay? They don't want negative news. They don't want people to feel bad on Facebook. They want them to feel good. So when we have that in mind, then we can think about, how does Facebook want you to advertise? And this is the thinking part that really is quite relevant. First, they want you to provide content and value, okay? They want you to connect with people. They want then to direct people to your website, and then follow up with them with retargeting. Now, we're not going to go into a lot of details on that. This is, again, conceptually where I want you to be thinking about. So, example of a content ad. I keep coming back to Frank in his video. He just says, if you're not getting people in, here's what you do. If you're getting them in and you're not selling, here's what you do. And he just keeps giving tons of value to people, okay? Then, from there, now it's bad because it's not Frank's offer at this point, that would be a better example, but then you go to a link ad, right? Just like the meditation ad, and you try and get people to sign up for your email list of some kind, or to visit and make a purchase. Once they do that, they end up on your landing page, right? And they subscribe to your list or make a purchase, whatever it is. From there, the retargeting is other stuff that you can learn elsewhere, but the idea is, if they're not making a purchase or they're not subscribing, you can target them again to get them back to your website with a different kind of ad, maybe a different video, all kinds of things. So what is the most effective ad on the planet? Well, it's not Jonathan Bender, who that is a picture of. It is video ads, though. And Jonathan, part of why I asked to be later in the weekend is Jonathan is brilliant at being on video, at presence, at connection. And that's what Facebook wants. So, I could say, hey, if you're having trouble with this strategy, come to me. No. When it comes to video, you just go to Jonathan. He will definitely support you with the presence and the connection that's going to make your ads, really light up people's hearts and really work. So, Facebook, the first rule of Facebook video ads is great content, exceptional value, right? That's what Facebook wants. Kitties and puppies. They just want great value.
So Chris, when
Yes.
you say what they want, is it built into the algorithm some way?
Mhm.
You want to speak to that? Like, how are they rewarding
Right.
this? Is it through their algorithm somehow?
Yes, so Facebook knows if people are liking things, if they're sharing things, if they're commenting on things. Facebook knows if these are positive comments or negative comments. There's also the feedback thing at the side of every Facebook ad. You can choose if you like it or don't like it or hide it. So Facebook use all of this, and they can even look at the content of something. An image with text, a video that has captions. They're looking at all this to figure out, is this providing value to our community? Because if it's not, they're going to make you pay more to reach those people, and they may just drop the ad altogether and disapprove it and disqualify it. So at the end of the day, yes, Facebook knows automatically if you're doing things well and playing by their rules. Now, the second rule of Facebook video ads is great content, exceptional value to your audience. That is everything on Facebook. And that's why the whole thing about being not spammy works. Because Facebook wants people to love you. because then they make more money from your ads, okay? And they make, keep more people on site longer. They do social service by providing good ads to people. So when you keep that in mind, those things work. So, in other words, just connect authentically and give your audience reasons to love you, right? That's what you're here to do. When it comes to advertising, they're here to love you. And when they love you, they will like you, know you, and ultimately buy from you because they trust you to help them in their life, right? That's what this is about. And that's what Facebook wants. So in case you're wondering, you need a little help here, it can be overwhelming, all that stuff. Like I said, don't come to me, go to that guy for anything video related. Okay.
Facial expression there.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about
Yeah. That was intentional. So video ads, he may not know Facebook advertising, but when it comes to delivering on video and connecting, he is the person to go to, hands down. Now, we'll talk about this other kind of ad, which is a link ad, a call to action. It could be a lead ad. You're trying to get people to subscribe. And what we're going to do now is talk about how to think about this, okay? Because again, how to do it is not really hard. Facebook, execution plan from DM Lab, they'll teach you that. But how to think about it so that people really love your ads, that's not taught in any of the, in any of their courses. So the first thing is, there's just parts of a Facebook ad. If you look up there, you have the text up there, you have the title, the link description, the call to action. These are just kind of the structure of it. You don't need to memorize it. Again, when you go through DM Lab, they will tell you exactly what to put and where. But we need to know this just so we have a basic frame for the body text and the description. So the body text is that text thing, what they see right above your ad, okay? So be crystal clear, always be crystal clear. No jargon, don't confuse people, simple sentences. If you can, be experience-oriented. Tell them what they're gonna get or where they're at right now in their life. Find some way to connect with them. And it's also good to set expectations for future contact. If you're going to email them once a week, tell them you're going to email them once a week. If you're going to follow up and tell them, about a resource, a great free ebook, let them know you're going to email them that, and afterwards, what you might, share with them. Lots of white space also. This is something people miss in a Facebook ad. They make this long paragraph because they're trying to, share everything they can. Simple, short sentences and a lot of white space really works. And then emoticons. Yeah.
Can you say a little more about experience-oriented again?
Yeah, a meditation experience. You might want to let them know they're coming to peace, joy, and abundance. If they're learning to write an Amazon bestseller, you might touch on either what it's like to be an author or what it's like to have a message inside you that isn't getting out. Those are some ways you can speak to the experience.
He's pointing to the aspiration for I teach you about aspiration problem diagnosis.
Good.
So toward the aspiration or the desired future state.
Good, perfect, thank you. And yes, jump in anytime. I'm not attached to being a walking podium. I love to actually hear, serve, help. And the other thing, as I was gonna say, is use emoticons, smileys, hearts, check marks that are colored, things like that, because it stands out in the feed. If you just have a block of text, people will miss it. But if you have little check marks and smileys, that's how we start to think in terms of messaging, in terms of texting. And it's a symbol represents a large concept. So we can use symbols to get the attention instantly of someone. So here's an example of my Course in Miracles ad. People who've been studying for years say they have helped them go farther than the course ever had because the book sat on their shelf, right? While these daily emails show up every day and remind them to return to peace, love, and forgiveness, right? So there's experiences in there. There's a setting of a future expectation. I'm going to be emailing you every day in your life, right? But it's also, what the benefit is, right? To really help remind you to come back to this thing that has sat on your shelf all this time, right? So all of you have that gift of whatever is missing in your client's life. And your ads are there to remind them how to get back to what they want. Another example ad for my Enneagram Insights page. I was promoting the Enneagram Global Summit recently. Very simple. Join us in June for a week, right? I'm telling you, for a week, you're getting this live online event. And you see the emoticons, the check marks, the hearts. It's so much easier to even compare the two, right? This ad which still does fantastically well, versus that one. It's just easy, simple, and we know we see bullets. We already thinking there's benefits, right? Unconsciously, we see bullets, we think benefits, right? And hearts, I mean, we all like hearts, so that works. And again, a typo, right? Here's the thing, visit the event info page to join us, okay? I should proofread my ads more before I launch them. But the challenge I have is once I launch an ad and it's successful, I don't want to stop it because it's getting likes and shares and the social proof that other people see it's doing well. So don't feel like you have to do this perfectly. I've shown you 2 ads that have been massively successful, generating in some cases 27,000 leads with typos in them, okay? I do want to be more professional. My ads are more professional, generally speaking. But if you're not perfect, it's totally okay. Yes?
I have a question. You keep using the word lead, so can you just go into what is a lead, click,
Yeah.
and all that?
Sure. So a click would be just someone who visits your website. They came from any place. It could be Pinterest, it could be Google search, anywhere. They clicked something and they landed on your website. A lead or an opt-in or a subscriber, those are all synonymous. That's someone who is now on your email list who can receive your emails. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay, good.
And so, just to connect the dots.
Yes.
So when you generate all these leads for
Yeah.
an affiliate,
Mhm.
then you get paid when the person buys the product.
Right. Yes. Yeah, that's how I was doing that.
Column was sales. Did you see that?
Right.
So it was opt-ins, and then where did he end up on the sales board?
Right.
I just wasn't understanding.
No, that's great. Thank you. So, then we have the headline in an ad. This is, often what captures people's attention. I love using the word free in brackets. I'll show you an example of that. It gets people's attention. Use punctuation, special characters. Again, you're trying to get someone's attention on Facebook, right? And you want to do it in authentic ways, but you also want to use the tools available to you. So use punctuation, be willing to be creative, be willing to use all capitals or 3 dots or parentheses, play with it. And again, be super direct. Again, so many people try and over-psychologicalize, whatever that word is, to try and get into the brain of their prospect and to try and manipulate them in a direction. And the thing is, our markets are more sophisticated than that now. They've heard all of the promises, just like I did earlier in my presentation with the cash cow and the overpromise. They've heard that, and no one believes it. None of you really believed me when I showed you a picture of a cash cow that you would magically go from nothing to everything overnight with one presentation, right? But that's the promises that were made in ads for so many years. So now people want direct. They want simple. They want connection. So be willing to just tell them what it is you do, okay? Let them fall in love with you as you are without having to put up masks and pretenses and try and, move people's heads. So here's examples. I sell a mug. It's a sale. It's a mug. Free meditations. The most hype-oriented one here is Life Coaching Made Easy. And that one actually is kind of true. It's 5 video series on exactly what it takes to become a life coach so you can figure out if it's for you or not, right? And that was the framing of that ad. And then, a free self-publishing e-course and ebook, right? Very simple. Someone sees that. If they've ever wanted to be an author, they're going to think that's probably for me. It's an e-course and it's an ebook and it's free, right? You're going to lead them into a product after that, and that's what Chris is here to teach you, is everything that happens after this moment, right? To get people to make that sale and take that next step. But the first thing you do is you give them something for free. And these are great opportunities. There's also the images in an ad, and I have found that this is my secret sauce. So what you're going to learn today, the other stuff is stuff I've learned through experience. This is the stuff that moves the needle. And it moves the needle in really weird ways. Because I never thought that an image would make the most difference in an ad. But it turns out, of all the things you can change, the headline, the description, all the stuff that you can change in an ad, an image actually moves the needle the most. So I don't even bother testing headlines anymore. I know exactly what headlines work. They're very simple. They're direct, okay? So I know the headlines work, okay? When it comes to the descriptions, right? Scrolling up, I know what works. It's very simple. Connect, white space, tell people what they're gonna get. It's not rocket science, but what really moves the needle is images, because that's what we see, and that's what either makes us stop scrolling or makes us connect with something, right? We think in terms of images. We think in terms of stories and images before we can speak. So when we remember that, then we can use this as a way to connect with our audience and the people we're serving more effectively. So I have sort of a secret sauce, which is the first thing I do is I have 3 images in each set of ads that I run. So I'll make the same ad, and I'll make 3 copies of it with different images. And this will make more sense when you go through the digital marketer execution plan and all that. So you don't need to memorize it. But conceptually, just know that I like to make 3 ads. One of them has an image that looks, focuses on the conscious or the obvious thing that someone thinks they're going to get. The second image is targeting the unconscious. What are the desires, the motivators? How do people imagine they'll feel when they have what you have to offer? And the third one is kind of stuff you think can't work. I mean, totally random, out of the box stuff. Always try something that you think there's no way this could ever work. Now, for images, these are ones that target the conscious mind. You sell a mug, show them a mug, right? It's really simple. Giving away a free meditation course, show someone meditating. If you have a free ebook, you're selling aromatherapy, whatever you're selling, the conscious is just very simple and direct. For the unconscious, or there's another conscious one. This one surprised me. I thought there's no way in the world I could take a screenshot of my opt-in page as an ad and actually have it work. And it turns out this is one of my best converting ads of all time. Tens of thousands, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of leads have come in through this ad over the many years that it's run. People say you have to refresh your ads every so often, they get tired. This ad has run for like half a decade. I don't know how, but again, you try something that you think shouldn't work, but this is an example actually of the conscious ad and the one you think you won't ever work, right? I'm telling them, give them a Course in Miracles. It's a picture of the book and then a subscribe form. And I think what happens is a lot of people just click it thinking they're gonna already start subscribing, and then it goes to the website and they go through that process. But I don't know, right? And sometimes you won't know why something works on Facebook. That's okay. Run with it. Be okay with that. It's the mystery. Yes?
Are you actually getting the book, or are you getting your course?
They're getting one of the workbook lessons each day. Because I don't know if you're familiar, the workbook is 365 lessons.
Yeah.
I give them 1 lesson per day for a year.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
'cause
Through
if
email.
I see that, I think you're going to send me the book. If I read the book, I don't know.
Right, and they get to the landing page. And the whole ad, when you see everything in context,
Okay.
the ad says you're going to get 1 lesson per day for a year.
Okay.
The landing page is very clear about that. So occasionally people were upset they didn't get the book, but on the landing page, on my opt-in page, I actually have an Amazon affiliate link that goes to the book. Like if you really want to pay $20, go get it here. So that's a value proposition. They can either pay $20 for the whole thing or get it for free from me. And that's a whole different story. If people have questions why I'm able to give it away and stuff like that, we can discuss that offline. Totally legit, of course. So targeting the unconscious mind, okay? When I did the ad for the Kindle Amazon bestseller, an ebook course, what do people imagine? Eat, Pray, Love. They imagine this, romanticized writer's life is the unconscious desire that you can just pour your words on a page, relax with your coffee in the morning, and you are just going to change the world, right? That's very unconscious. People aren't explicitly saying that when they say, I want to go write a book. But unconsciously, they envision the life, and that was the winning ad that I had, or the winning image for that type of ad. Then, like I said, we have the questionable, the things you think can't work. Now, these are 3 people from my mastermind. On the left is Andy Shaw. He's the creator of a system called the Bug-Free Mind. In the middle is Peter Halm, who is his right-hand man who handles all the business stuff. And on the far side is Glenn Ledwell, co-founder of Mind Movies. Have any of you heard of Mind Movies? Okay, so he's the co-founder. So anyway, he's actually the one we're going to talk about here. And he's an interesting character, and he was at a mastermind, and he does more split tests than anyone I know. And a split test basically is just where you have 2 things, and you want to see which one gets the best response. It could be 2 ads. Does ad 1 or ad 2 get the most sales? Or it could be which headline on an ad. Does the headline here or this headline get more people to click? So he split tests thousands of things every month, all the time. Images, headlines, colors, everything. So he did a split test, and what he found was this cartoon-like image at the top of one of his opt-in pages was getting more sales than anything else they had done in years. And he hated it. He thought it was cheesy. He did not like it at all. And he told his team, I don't want to do this, but they said, it's selling more. And Glenn is a man of conscience, and he says, well, when we sell more, we serve more. Those are more people who actually get the products that help them. So he was willing to forego his preferences and let the data speak for itself. And then that got me thinking, what if the random thing could work? Earlier I said, the random thing you think can't work can work. And this is where I got that possibility, that idea from. And I discovered images like this can work. Outside the box images you think can't work. A little girl with a heart-shaped balloon, a cartoon no less, okay? This has been my best-selling image for multiple things, for affiliate product launches, for getting subscribers to join A Course in Miracles. I've tried split testing an image with the Course in Miracles and an image with this girl with a heart balloon. And this girl just blows it away, okay? You think it can't work. So always try that one random thing, that image that you go, that caught my attention. I don't know what that's about, but let's give it a try.
How did you catch your attention? How did you even find that image to even think about, oh, I'll stick this up there?
Okay, so I went to a royalty-free image site where you can get images you can use for your business. And I searched for like cartoon and love or something. I don't even know why I was thinking that. Maybe because of Course in Miracles and love, right? But I just searched for cartoons and love, and this came up out of all the 50 images that were there. I was like, that caught my attention, right? If it caught my attention, it might get someone else's attention. So that's kind of where that went. Again, and you can get inspiration anywhere, right? Because the random image is all that is. It is just the random thing.
But what I want to point out is that is so counterintuitive.
Yes.
But you build it into the testing just to see how it goes. I mean, it's amazing to think so much out of the box and just let your mind go, and then just find something that you might think is cheesy or doesn't work, and you throw it into the testing.
Yes.
And you find it actually does work.
Like AstroCat, okay?
Yeah, look at that.
This guy was the random image that I decided to use when I was coaching the creator of MacGyver. He was doing a product launch, and he wanted to get his online course out there. So I wrote all of their Facebook ad copy. I picked all the images that they would use. I did everything other than the landing page and beyond that. But from all the Facebook perspective, I set everything up for them. Or no, I designed it all. They actually set it up. So this was the random image. I thought, that seems kind of MacGyver-like, right? Like a cat in space with cameras. Like if that's not MacGyvering, a weird situation, I don't know what is. But it was still totally random, right? So here is, what I'm going to do is show you some of the ads I've used now, because I've covered what I really wanted to teach you, which is how to think about ads, how to open your mind to this possibility that can be easy and not difficult. Yes?
So do you think it's kind of like a thing that even if you don't fully connect to what the thing is, if this guy's into space cats, he must be cool, so I'm going to check it out?
I don't even have a good sense for the psychology of the random image. I've tried to reverse engineer. I can reverse engineer a lot of things. And I've reverse engineered my whole Facebook process and distilled it into some pretty basic steps here today, as far as the thinking goes. But as far as why the random image work goes, I don't know. I have no clue, other than I can say I think it gets people's attention, whatever it is. So, as an example, earlier I showed you this social proof ad, 102,000 likes, 38,000 shares for a Facebook ad. And now you're going to get to see what that ad was. An image ad with a Marianne Williamson quote. Simple, easy. And at the top, I give away A Course in Miracles for free.
How did that do, that image versus?
Oh, crushed it. This image ran for, 2015? So it ran for probably 2 to 3 years. And that's the thing that is really interesting when you focus on content, value, connection. You can actually have an ad run for a really long time. So many people, high ad agencies, they have to refresh their ads over and over because they're spending $5,000 and $10,000 a day. People see the ad over and over. When you use strategies like this focused on content and connection, you can actually have ads run for months and years at a time that work. And you know why they work, and they're reliable, and you don't have to worry about the squiggly Facebook line. It looks very straight when you can rely on this ad to do that kind of results consistently. Yes?
So does the ad keep showing up on someone's feed if you run it for a long period of time? Or does it keep showing it to different people?
Right, so there's a lot of different ways you can do targeting. If you want to exclude people who have seen any of your ads in the last 30 days, you can just say, don't show them ads. If you want to only target your customers, you can do that. If you want to say only target people who are not customers, you can do that. The Frank Kern strategy, at a high level, what he does is he shows you video 1, okay? If you watch video 1, only then will he show you video 2. If you watch video 2, only then does he show you video 3. And if you've actually taken the time to watch all 3 videos, then he'll send you to a sales page. And on the sales page, he says, I showed you video 1, here's what I was teaching you. I showed you video 2, here's what I was doing to engage you. Here's video 3, and I did this because I think you're my ideal prospect. And your next step, if you are my ideal prospect, is to fill out this form, and it's not cheap to work with me, right? So that's how Frank Kern uses different targeting levels. Facebook has a little metric in there that shows how often frequency someone has seen an ad. So you could look at your reports and you could say something like, in the last 30 days, people have seen my ads on average 1.5 times. If you're okay with that number, you keep running the ad. But if you see people have seen it twice in the last 3 days, you say, okay, that's not what I want. That's a little too much. So you find ways to adjust. And that's part of where the whole art science of Facebook ads comes into play, of changing bids and stuff like that, the technical stuff, which again isn't hard when you know how to think about those things, right? So there's so many good resources out there that'll teach you the how-to, but conceptually, it's important to know that you can target people based on any kinds of things you want, based on behaviors, based on not wanting them to see an ad too much. In fact, Facebook even has a little feature where you can say, don't show my ad more than once to a person during this time period. I don't use that feature because sometimes repetition is good. But too much repetition, of course, is overwhelming, and then it's not serving, right? Then it's just pushing something on someone instead of connecting. So, that's definitely good to keep in mind. But generally speaking, it's not an issue I run into. And occasionally, I'll get to that in just a minute, occasionally it does come up, and people then share it because they said, oh, I liked it the first time. Let me share it again. So when you're really putting content and connection out there, even that repetition becomes an asset rather than a drawback, as long as it's not overwhelming. Yes?
How do they know if you're a customer or not? Because that means you actually thought something, right?
Right. So Facebook has features where you can actually upload your email list or your customer list. And then what it does is it anonymizes that data, but it matches it. And you can say, just don't target those customers. Or please do. I have a great coaching offer for them, a great second level promotion, for customers you've already bought. So you can use your own customer data and email data to actually have Facebook do targeting, in addition to its own targeting stuff.
You just export your list out of your email program.
Exactly.
Wow.
And it's brilliant for when you want to do 2 things, actually, conceptually. One is you have another offer to follow up with. They purchased one thing, you're running a special offer, a sale, Christmas sale, whatever it happens to be. Well, if only between 10 and 30% of people are opening your emails, how many more might get through on Facebook where, there isn't the spam filters to stop and not too many people have the ad blockers in general, that you're still going to reach them. The other reason why it's really helpful to be able to upload your email list to Facebook is because what they can do is create what's called a lookalike audience. So if I say, here's 10,000 people who are my subscribers, Then they can make this lookalike audience, and I go advertise to them, and I say, Facebook, go find people who are just like my existing subscribers. And it'll do all of this targeting for me. I don't have to know their gender. I don't have to know their interests. I don't have to know anything about them, because Facebook already knows what my subscribers like and all the people that are like it. Imagine what that can do for customers. When you have 1,000 customers, and you tell Facebook, go find people who are just like my customer, right? It can be really powerful. And the more data they have, the better they can do that profiling. Yeah.
Do they, when you do that,
Yeah.
do they tell you how many or which of your customers aren't on Facebook, so you know that you can still reach them in a different way if you need to?
No, because that starts to get into privacy violation issues. So what they do is they upload it in basically an anonymous way, so you don't know which of them are on Facebook or which ones are not. They upload it and they cross-reference your list in like an encrypted way. So there's no data being shared or anything like that. And then from there, they will know, they'll say, we uploaded 2,000 people. They process it for like a day or so, and after a day, they'll come back and say, your audience size is 800. So you'll know that 800 people from your list are on Facebook. You won't know which 800, right?
This is what if your list is really small?
Overall, you want to grow your list. It can start with as little as 100 people, but 1,000 is the minimum that Facebook really starts to profile well. Now, the good thing is if you think about from an advertising strategy perspective, right? If you have your subscribers and you have your lookalike, people who are like your subscribers, right? Every time someone subscribes, then Facebook better profiles this other group, which then makes it easier to get more subscribers. So you make a circle of getting subscribers and then advertising to people who are just more like your subscribers. So it lets Facebook do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And 10 years ago when I started, it was not that way. Facebook's ad tools were terrible. You couldn't almost do anything, but now it is the best ad engine on the planet because it does most of the work for you when you play by its rules. So what I did want to do also is show you an example of the MacGyver Secret ad that we made, okay? You can see the headline down below, free MacGyver Secret ebook and video course. Super simple, right? Again, I'm being very direct. If you read the ad itself, MacGyver once said, maybe it's about time I expanded the realm of possibilities around here. The thing is, most people think they aren't very creative, okay? They believe that only MacGyver and Hollywood writers can solve problems with such a genius. But that's not true, okay? In this free mini or e-course and ebook, you'll learn exactly how to access your own inner MacGyver, even if you don't have enough time, are bad at problem solving, or don't know where to start. So there's a lot of experience in there, right? Really addressing where their pain points are, but also giving them hope. And then it's very simple. Click the link below to get started now, right? I mean, it's very simple. Your inner MacGyver is waiting for you. This image is the conscious image. When we think of MacGyver, we think of brilliance, we think of really smart people, right? And if we see a kid with a light bulb, finger in the air, we're thinking, this kid is smart, right? That's how we want to be. We want to be smart like this kid. So this is the conscious ad, or the conscious image. The unconscious image was the universe. When we access creativity, we feel vast, immense. We feel like we are connected to everything when we are in our creative zone, right? So that's why that image came to mind when I was searching. And then, as I told you before, the random image, the AstroCat. And we were all rooting for AstroCat. That's who we wanted to have win because we all loved it. He's fun, like interesting. You have to stop when you see AstroCat. Unfortunately, not enough people stopped and subscribed. Turns out the universe was the winner in this case. Right. I didn't expect that, but that's why you do 3 ads: conscious, unconscious, and then the random. Because in a lot of my ads, the random one and the conscious one win, but sometimes the unconscious one will hit you the home runs. Now, the interesting thing is they took this and said, well, that's good. What else could we test this against, right? Because once you have a good winning ad that's going, you can ride it for a while, but could you serve better? Could you reach more people? Could you get more clicks, more subscribers, more sales?
Chris, will you just take a moment to
Yes.
talk a little bit about the strategy of testing how many dollars, how long, just some parameters.
Right.
Because you said, well, test it, but what is the
Right.
testing look
So on one hand, I don't want to go into too much detail on that because that gets into the clicking, the technical, the stuff you can learn from courses. Conceptually, though, I start with very low ad budgets. I start with ad budgets of anywhere between $1 and $5 a day. Okay, not a lot. These are, it's not 10,000, 5,000, 50,000. So in the case of something like this, I might say I'm going to target fans of the MacGyver page, and I'm going to spend $5 a day targeting them, and I want to show them these 3 ads, the unconscious, the conscious, and the random. And then Facebook will start putting all those ads in front of the audience and try and figure out which one is the best. And it'll do its magic, and eventually it'll say, oh, the universe was the best. It's still spending that $5, but now it spends more on the universe and less on AstroCAD. So Facebook does a lot of the split testing, and you can, as you learn more from like the digital marketer course and stuff like that, they'll teach you there's kind of 2 ways to do testing. One way is let Facebook optimize till it finds the best one, and then it'll keep doing that. The other way is you say, Facebook, don't do that. Just show evenly each ad, and after a week or a month, I will look at it and decide which one I think I want to have move forward. So that's a high level, what kind of testing can go on. But I use very low budgets in Facebook to start with. What I may do, as far as the strategy goes, is I might start doing more ad groups. So I might say, well, women 35 and up are really doing well with this audience. What about men 35 and up? What about people interested in product launches? What about aromatherapy? I'll start trying these different audiences, and I'll say $5 to that one, $5 to this one, $5 to this one. So I might spend $50 in a day reaching 10 completely different audiences. And I'll watch that for anywhere from 3 days to a week. And if I'm getting the results I want, then I will maybe give another one of those groups that's doing well $2 more. I'll go big. I'll go to $7, right? The ones that aren't doing well, I'll say, Facebook, you're just not doing your job here. And I'll either completely drop them or whatever else. So right now I'm spending on average about $50 a day on Facebook, just for my own subscribers and stuff like that. And this process of, reaching more people, throwing away what's not working, and trying new things at low budgets. Some of my budgets start at $1 a day. Because what people don't realize about Facebook is it is working for you. It works hard for you. So it will also try and spend your money, okay? That's what it does. So if you say, Facebook, I have $10,000, Facebook goes, I got $10,000, and there's only 500 people that meet your ideal criteria. I will get those 500 people, I promise you. But I will also spend the other $10,000, right? Now, let's say you still have that same 500 people, but you only give Facebook $10. Facebook says, I'm going to try really hard to find those 500 people. And so therefore, it's not just throwing out a shotgun approach. It's going to really laser target. So I always start with small budgets because that allows me to laser target and make Facebook work harder for me. Yes?
Okay, but yeah, my budget had always been $1 to $5.
Right, good.
And it usually doesn't get all spent either.
Right, yeah, sometimes it might not. I have several budgets that aren't getting full spend.
I have a fan page.
Yeah,
I have like 700 people signed up on it.
okay,
Those are obviously the people that I want.
right.
How do I target just them?
Okay. So in Facebook ads, you can actually, when you're making the ad group, that's the targeting we talked about earlier, there's a place where you can say people who are connected to my page, target them only. And you just click that setting. With that few people, I would only target $1 a day max. Because once you do more than $1 a day, they're going to start seeing the ad tons of times. The good thing, and I'll come back to you in just a minute, is when you're doing content ads, when you're serving people, when you're really connecting with the things I'm showing, with video, with inspiration, with heart, people start sharing your ads, right? Like we saw. When they share them, your page is always attached to that ad, and people start clicking like. Some people will like my page even if they don't like my ad, okay? And then you end up going from 600 to 700 to 800. So one of the great ways to grow your Facebook page is actually advertising good content. advertising things that people are grateful for. They will still like your page through that process. In your email funnel and when you follow up with them, you can say, hey, I hope you loved this video. You should like me on my Facebook page for more like this, right? Then you use your email list to build your Facebook page and your Facebook page to build your email list. And you had a question.
Can you please say something more about, I don't know, your thought process or what you try to do when you pick an unconscious image?
Yeah, and Chris, if I could get a little more water or someone, yeah. So unconscious images, my thought process is, Chris, I believe, talked about going into the desires of your prospect. What are those desires that they have? And when you get in touch with that, then you can just kind of start searching, right? I go into the royalty-free image sites. Deposit Photos is one of my favorites. Pexels is a free one. Unsplash is a free one that is great because they use real photos. It's a little more down to earth. So Unsplash and Pexels are my favorite. Pexels. Instead of pixels, yeah, P-E-X, Pexels. And Unsplash are my favorite royalty image sites.
What was the first one you mentioned prior to that?
Unsplash is the free one.
Yeah.
Pexels is the free one. The paid one is Deposit Photos.
Deposit Photos?
Right. They have a ton of stuff. They're a little expensive. But every year, a company called AppSumo, which I sign up for their list, does a special deal on Deposit Photos. And they give you like 100 photos for like $40. It's a steal. And every year I buy like 200 or 300 of them because I use them in blog posts. I use them in ads. But anytime I want to find an ad, I'll come back to you in a minute. Anytime I want to find an ad, like an unconscious ad image, I will think, what is the desire? What is it this prospect really wants? Then I'll go to these royalty image sites and I'll just start searching for searching for those things, searching for love, searching for fun, searching for creativity. And I'll just see what comes up. And if something catches my attention, I go, that's what I was looking at. Yeah, in the search engines. You had a question?
So is the strategy different for a product, like a free ebook or a mug versus an event?
If I were advertising an event, I would generally try and get people on the list with a freebie first anyway. I would pre-qualify their interest in the event because once you build that list, you can follow up with other things, not just the event. So I typically don't do a lot of event advertising to people who aren't familiar with my brand. I might do event advertising to my subscribers and customers though.
Because what I'm trying to do
Yeah.
is bring in people for a free event that may not be aware but are curious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I would lead with a content video ad, like we talked about before, get them interested in who you are, trust you, then do a link ad to get them, like this, to come to your event. And I would still split test unconscious, conscious, and random.
I did a video ad for a $10 event.
Okay,
For $10 for 10 days.
right.
And when you're talking about content, I'm getting a little confused because this one gives you content. This example, it talks about the aspiration and the pain, but the one on Book of Miracles,
Yeah.
it was just that image, and then click here.
Above that was a description. And it'll say like, the course book has sat on their shelf for years, and these lessons bring them back to, yeah, right.
I didn't see any content.
Right, yeah, that's the description part. So there is content there.
There is.
And there's always content, but it doesn't have to be a lot. And like I said, for an event, this type of structure will work really well. If you look at what the structure of this ad is psychologically right here, first I'm connecting with the audience with something familiar. The page name is The MacGyver Secret. They obviously know MacGyver, and now we're talking about MacGyver once said, right? And what he said, I looked for quotes from the TV show till I found the one that would do what I wanted to do, which is make people think that they can expand their realm of possibilities. The next thing I spoke to is,
Season 3 episode.
yeah, whatever it was, And the second thing is I speak to the pain point. They think they're not creative. They think it's for everyone else but them. I demystify it and say, it's actually not true, right? Unconsciously, I'm saying you kind of been lied to, right? And there's a bigger possibility here. And then I tell them exactly what they're going to get and what it's going to do for them. And that line here is really important, even if you don't have enough time, are bad at problem solving, or don't know where to start. If you can use 3 things that you know are objections that they have in your ad, and you tell them you're already going to overcome those objections with a free resource, that is, huge. That's actually almost exactly the same thing I used for the Amazon Kindle ad, except it was don't have enough time, are bad at writing, or don't know where to start, right? You could use that for almost anything. Don't have enough time, that's all of us almost, are bad at fill in the blank, right? Or don't know where to start. That's true for almost anyone. So you're free to steal that, almost word for word and use that. It works, very effective. And at the same time, it connects because it shows you have an understanding of this person's problem, and you're showing them a solution to it. And then, of course, the end, click the link below now. And a little bit of inspiration, your inner MacGyver is waiting for you, right? A little bit of, uplift at the end of that.
Is there a,
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
How much more of your presentation? 'Cause
This is basically tail end. Q&A is perfect right here.
Awesome. Go ahead.
is there a optimal or magical little length of free content video that you put onto Facebook?
You
Set
can
up
do
a-
anything.
a
I
launch
mean,
pad?
yeah, you mean the first content
And
piece?
really in
Yeah.
terms of what we're doing here. So
Right.
if we're trying to get people to join our free webinar that
Right.
leads into our course.
Yes.
And we're just going to give them a free content video before we give them the link to the free webinar, if I'm
Right.
understanding
Yes,
the
perfect.
process. So the webinar is going to be like 75 minutes with
Yeah.
a bunch of content.
Yeah.
So what's the little magic bullet?
The magic bullet is you can do
Video
whatever you want that's at least a few minutes long. But you can go 3 minutes, you could go 20, you could go 50. Because the cool thing about Facebook is it will let you target based on how long someone watched a video for. So if someone watched for 50% of your video, they are much more qualified than someone who only watched 3 seconds, right? So you can make different groups of, say, 25% watch, 50% watch, 75%, and I think 95%, right? And the reason that's relevant is if you have a 10-minute video, right, even watching for 25%, 2.5 minutes is pretty significant, right? That could be enough to retarget. But if you have a 3-minute video, you're looking for people who watched at least 50 to 75% to qualify them for what you're offering, right? But you can't go wrong with longer video, right? That's the good thing, because if you're engaging, connecting, serving, then people will keep watching until you're not connecting, engaging, serving, or they run out of time, right? But it's never a bad thing because this is just the front end for targeting, just to serve initially to get them familiar with you.
So is there a point then at which the webinar that you're trying to lead them into the course actually becomes a Facebook video that leads into the
You
course?
could experiment with that and then retargeting a link right to your product. I mean, there's no reason you
Right.
couldn't experiment with that, but I know your real question is,
Right.
where's the line between giving too much content so they don't need to subscribe, right? I mean, that's kind of the
And follows that.
Can I just
Yeah.
jump in? Because
Yeah.
I really want to simplify. Do you remember the funnel I showed you yesterday, guys? The lead magnet going into the webinar, going into the course. I'd love your feedback on this, but you've seen a lot of stuff about ebooks here. So you create your lead magnet that's a free 20-page ebook. That's what you want to add all day long, okay? Because going directly from this ad into a webinar does not convert as well, correct?
right. Yes, straight to webinar is tough.
So you don't want the ad to be to the webinar. You want it to be some freebie download, blueprint, ebook, whatever it is. Then that's the funnel. See, when they download that, then they're going to get the email that says join my webinar. On the landing page will be the webinar and the thank you page. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you build that in on the back end of that. They get the download and now they get the offer to join your webinar.
So that's a little different than this model where the content video is followed up by another ad that takes you to.
Well,
that.
Frank Kern is pretty sophisticated. So
What I'll do is I'll break that down. So, essentially, imagine this ad is going to an ebook or whatever, right? Which is what you teach to then get people to subscribe, and then you follow up to get them on the webinar, right? So what I'm teaching is how to get people to this place, right? And this place here where they're seeing your ad to get your ebook, it's great if you have a content video that you are actually distributing, right? That they're watching, and you were asking, what's the right length for it, and where's the line between the content video you're giving away and then what you give away in the ebook and what you give away in the webinar. Now the reality is, I'll come back to you in just a minute. The reality is you're all experts at what you do, okay? Which means you have 1,000,001 topics that you can talk about in content videos. You could make content videos all day long about all kinds of questions you've got, stories you've heard. You could have 15 or 20 of these content videos out running to try and find your ideal person. And it will never, ever come close to what you offer in your ebook and your webinar and your paid programs. You can tell a story. You can connect. That's the thing that's important, is to connect in these these videos that you put out there. So they could be 3 minutes, they could be 10, they could be 30. And they don't have to be the same content that's in your webinar. They can still be on topic, speaking to their challenges. That maybe on your webinar you're covering 3 things. Well, if you have another 10 problems you can solve, or 10 questions you've received, or 5 great stories you've had, you can use those as these videos to connect with people before they see this ad here.
Is there an ideal length? What if you find it for that ad, video ad? Is
Minimum of 3 to 5 minutes, but after that, go as long as you want.
okay.
Because again, if you make a 30-minute video and someone watches 15 minutes of it, they're pretty qualified. That's a really qualified person.
Yeah.
Whereas if you make a 3-minute video and they watch a minute,
You're not
you
sure.
don't
You're not
know.
sure. I see.
So I like just the idea of show up, serve, and trust the universe that you're gonna have the right length, and then you're gonna have the right people coming in, and your job is to help those right people fall in love with you.
But so everybody's clear here, that's still
Yeah.
an advertising video, guys. This is not course video. When he says content video,
Yes.
it's an advertising video.
Yes.
So it's not your it's not your webinar, which is you're really
Right.
teaching and you're making an offer in the webinar to your course. So totally different thing.
And so the content video
Yeah.
actually can then lead to, it's almost pre-lead magnet.
Yes, that's exactly what it
That's
is.
what it is.
Yeah.
Well, remember, it's just instead of that photo, instead of that, it's a video box.
Right.
Does that
Right.
make sense?
Oh, yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
And then the link is to your ebook.
Right.
So you're just giving great content that Facebook likes, and you're just saying something cool, but the link is still to your.
So the content ad still has a.
It can or cannot. I think that's where you're taking people
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
astray. So the video, yeah, just to oversimplify, the video that you start all your ads with is just very simply great content so that people know you, like you, love you, and trust you. And that's all you're doing. And then what will happen is when you learn some of the Facebook things from Digital Marketer Lab and stuff like that, they teach you retargeting. And all you're gonna do is you're gonna make a special group of people who have watched that ad at least 50%. And those are the people you're gonna advertise this type of link to. So these people who are seeing this have already fallen in love with you in some way, seen your video. That video doesn't have to have links in it. It doesn't have to have,
But it has to be the retargeting part. Sorry, I was confused.
Right, yes.
Not the ones where you said the content ads that have a link with the video.
Right.
This is the retargeting process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you
Yes.
pay differently? I mean, does it matter whether you're a 3-minute video or you're a half-an-hour video when you pay for the ad?
There's different ways to pay in Facebook. The way I do is called per impression, usually, which means that I am paying a certain amount to say, Facebook, I've got $5. Please just show it to as many people as you can for $5. And if I feel like not enough people are responding to that ad, then I'll try and change things up. But if I feel like that amount, Facebook is doing a good job, then I'll give Facebook more money. So, a good example is, let's say you have $5 to advertise on Facebook, and you are doing a video ad, and you say, get as many people to watch my video for $5 as possible. Now, I think we can all agree that if one person watches your video, that's a terrible ad, right? $5 for one person to watch your video is horrible, unless they buy $10,000 of stuff, and then you're happy, right? But generally, it doesn't work that way. On the other hand, if we see that 150 people watched our video for $5, we say, that looks good. We look a little deeper and say, well, 150 people watched it for 3 seconds. but only 2 people watch the whole thing. Again, that's probably not so good. But you're still only paying $5. And you're saying, Facebook, here's $5, do the best you can. With that, you then decide whether it's good enough or not to keep advertising. So I have, in my own brain, I kind of look at what an ad is doing over the course of a week or so. And I decide, do I feel comfortable with this number? Is it getting the results I want, the subscribers, the people on my webinar, the ebook download? And if it is, I let the ad run longer and I give it a little more money. And if I'm not getting those results, I say, sorry, Facebook, you'll get my money somewhere else, but not right here. Does that answer your question? Good.
And you have to decide at some point, if only 2 people watch the video, that you've either targeted the wrong audience or your video just sucks.
Or if they make a very pricey purchase, you found the exact right person. Right? So that's the thing where you can't base it only on a number. The context really matters. But as you run more ads over time, you're going to know if the numbers you're seeing make sense. If they're consistent. I know in my business, 50 cents a lead is reliable for me. Other people, other industries, you might be lucky if you get a subscriber for under $5.
So when you're trying to figure out how much it's costing you per lead,
Yeah.
like, I'm still trying to figure all this out in my head, but a reach is that somebody at least started the video. And then a click is that they clicked on where I wanted them to go to maybe sign up, right?
So the video view would be someone who watches a video. And then if they click the secondary ad to go to your website, that's a click.
Right.
And if they join your list, they're a lead, an opt-in, or a subscriber.
I'm just trying to use the verbiage that I saw.
Right, so that would be a video view. If someone watches the video, we would call that a video view.
Okay, I thought it was reach, but okay.
Yeah,
So, and then it gave me an average of how long they watched it,
right. Yeah,
but you can't, okay. So you want it to be at least like 70% in order to feel like it was a good view. What it was
right.
like
So the
3 minute
easy
or
way to
under
look
3
at it
minutes.
is as long as someone watched for a few minutes, no matter how long the video is, that's great. So if your video is an hour long and they watched for, 10 minutes, that's fantastic, right? Even though that's a low percentage.
Okay.
On the other hand, if your video is 5 minutes and they watched 100%, that's fantastic. It's 100%, right? So the percentage is less relevant than just, total time watched. And part of where we're going right now in this conversation is more of the technical stuff, right? And the thing is, the resources I pointed you to, and I'll circle back to them, will really help you know how to look at the data and do this at a refined level. So you don't have to worry about trying to grasp it all here. Really, it's important to think conceptually. What the real concept there is not what's the right amount of, what's the right length of time or the right percentage. It's in the context, right? If you have a video that's 10 minutes long and the key moment is at 8 minutes, when you invite people to a retreat or you tell people, hey, in my next video, I've got something fantastic for you, then anybody who didn't watch to 8 minutes is probably not going to be your target because the context matters. So that's more important, is to understand that the context of all of this makes more difference than the technical things. And those programs will teach you how to say, this is the right number and this is what you should do in this situation and tweak and stuff like that. So they'll get you the how-tos and how to analyze the data. But conceptually, just know that you have a lot of flexibility. And the end result is if you're actually reaching the people you want to reach, then your ads are successful. I just wanted to get a couple more slides, and we'll do more Q&A. With the MacGyver secret, this was the unconscious one. This is actually what ended up winning. They did another ad with the MacGyver duct tape, which is very famous in the MacGyver world. And they said, have a problem, MacGyver it, and this one actually did the best. And it beat out the other ones. And here, there's a lot we didn't cover today, and it's totally okay, right? You don't have to get it all, because what's important is that you realize Facebook advertising can be easy and cheap and profitable. You can actually reach the right people by giving your heart to them, right? By having them know you, like you, and trust you before they've met you. And that's the most important thing to realize, is that there's this shift happening from the old way of over-promising and spammy stuff and hype to people who just want something real. They just want to be told exactly what they can expect, and they want someone real enough to say, this is how it is. So again, the 3 resources after today that will really help you do the how-tos of it, follow Frank Kern, join the DM Lab dollar trial for the Facebook ad execution plan. That'll just step by step, 1, 2, 3, 4, your first ad will be up and running in, no time. And then, check out the Social Media Ad Genius 2.0 program, or at least follow them on Facebook and watch what Kurt is doing and listen to how he talks. And you'll realize you don't have to have these, beautifully produced videos. I love them. I am a design geek. I love beautiful video, right? But when it comes to connecting with people, my audience is loving when I just hold a selfie stick and I go for a walk. It's terrible, right? There's cars going across, down the street behind me, and the camera is shaky, right? And the first responses are all more, right? Because they want that connection. So you don't have to get it right. You don't have to be perfect. There are places for where that really matters, your landing pages, your webinars, your sales pages, things like that, where your audience cares about the beauty. But keep in mind, just random little live videos will do very well for the content piece. You don't have to overthink it. You can literally just, whatever comes to your brain, you can literally just make a video about it, and it will probably make your audience love you. So this was actually what I was going to say for the Q&A, but we got there about 20 minutes earlier, so yes.
This is just sort of backing up where we were some time ago.
Yeah, of course.
The 3 questions, the 3 pain points, don't have enough time, are bad at, and I didn't get the 3rd one.
Yeah, we'll just go back for you, right there. Enough time, bad at whatever this thing is, or don't know where to start.
Oh, don't know where to
Yeah,
start.
so many people don't know where to start with whatever it is because it's overwhelming. Don't know, even if you don't have enough time, are bad at writing, and don't know where to start with your Facebook ads, you can start today, right? I could easily do an ad for this presentation that has those 3 things right there in it.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
what's your recommendation for the name of my business page? This is like the MacGyver secret. So I've got
Right.
Christopher Kyle,
Right.
but I could also use Launch Academy. What do you recommend to focus
Yeah.
on?
In my experience, anything that's descriptive does a lot better than personality. So if I run the exact same ad for Chris Cade or A Course in Miracles, Course in Miracles blows it out of the water, no questions asked. My ad costs on Chris Cade are just it's horrendous, right? But if I advertise under A Course in Miracles, the exact same ad, same copy, everything, just a different name, it will do infinitely better. Okay. So I would definitely go with Launch Academy.
All right.
Unless you had, Launch Academy and there was some more concrete tagline like, for conscious entrepreneurs or whatever that underlying thing is, there might be a way to squeeze that in, and then suddenly you have an anchor, right? Psychologically, that's the first thing they see. And either they resonate with that page title or they have no reference point, right? If no one's heard of MacGyver, this means absolutely nothing to them, right? But if they have, instant anchor and instant rapport. So, in the case of aromatherapy, I would never use my name as the page name unless it had like aromatherapy and something in there that really gets, gives that anchor point, so that someone relates to it. And that's one thing I didn't know when I made my personal name 10 years ago, right? But with the other ones, once I figured out this Course in Miracles thing was working, Enneagram Insights is another page that I shared in here. People see that, people like it even when I'm not posting, because there's not a lot of Enneagram stuff on the internet, on Facebook, right? So definitely the page name does make a difference.
Yeah, okay.
And you can even split test it, right?
Yes.
Like I did. I know it doesn't work in my case.
Right.
But yeah, I love anything that's creative and has some kind of anchor that someone, when they see that page name, they go, that's for me, without even having to see your ad.
And again, it follows your philosophy of be direct, be authentic, because again, the ones that just have the person's name, you're not quite sure, what is it?
Right.
And people already know it's an ad. but you're
Yeah.
trying to make it pretend like it's just, hey, you're my buddy, you're in the
Right.
feed.
Yeah.
Right. So you're saying you're just being honest that the page, if it's a name like Launch Academy, MacGyver
Right.
Secret, it's clearly an ad, but if
Yeah.
they're interested in it, they're going to stop.
Exactly.
Or it's going to catch their attention.
Right.
And you're not trying to dupe them in some way.
No, exactly. It's very clear what you're up to
Right.
and how you're serving. And that's why I love leading with video ads, right? Because it clears away all of the negativity around being advertised to. Because now people know you, they like you, they trust you, they connect with you, they want to be engaged with you. And advertising shifts from being trying to take their money and the grabby, scarcity mindset into abundance. People want to be connected, and they will look to you for becoming the trusted source on whatever your topic is. You had a question.
So, what I just heard you suggest or infer was
Sitting here, maybe standing there doing nothing.
rather than, as we develop courses and we're going to offer them online, rather
Yeah.
than necessarily having separate pages for every course, is to have some sort of overlying page that represents the topic of, like an umbrella
Right.
page, so that within that we can offer a lot of content, and then when the new course comes up, it can all still be done through that page. Does that make sense? And would you
Yes,
agree
and
with
I
that?
would say that's true if your courses all fall under the same general
Umbrella.
targeting.
Right.
In my case, I have 5 different pages because Enneagram is very different than A Course in Miracles, which is different than my affirmations page, right? So I have all those pages. I've built them all up. A Course in Miracles is 400 and something thousand. Affirmations is 200 and something thousand. My Chris Cade one's only 30,000, comparatively speaking, which sounds like a lot, but when you realize how hard it is to reach people sometimes, especially with Facebook changing to really a pay-to-play model. If you post content on your page, it'll reach a small fraction. You take that same thing and advertise it for $1 a day, and Facebook suddenly is your best friend, right? So, going that route, if I were to move into a new industry and I were going to have many offerings that targeted the same people, I would definitely want to have one comprehensive page name and then, serve
So if
many
you were to
audiences.
do like a series of courses that all related to essential oils,
Exactly.
you would have a page that you could throw up any content about essential oils, and then
Right.
when it's course time, whatever the course is, you still do it through that
essential oil
page.
mastery, something
Because
like
everybody's
that,
following
or
that,
essential oil lovers. If you can use a community type thing or something that has instant anchor, that's great. But that's exactly it. If you know the second you say, well, I'm also going to teach aromatherapy entrepreneurs how to do Facebook ads, you want a new page, right? Because that really is a different audience. And you'll still invite people and sub-target and do all things to connect them, but you would want that to be separate. But in the case of where you have 10 aromatherapy courses, you want them
And
all.
you can tell Facebook to target people from this one of my pages, if you.
Yeah, you could say
this.
something like what I do with my Course in Miracles page, right? I will say, find people who are connected to my Course in Miracles page who are not subscribers, right? Or it could say who like Wayne Dyer or who like aromatherapy, right? And suddenly I have the know, like, trust factor of the page, but I can sub-target. And that's how I did a lot of the affiliate advertising that I did for affiliate product launches, right? Is I would look at it and say, well, these people are going to most likely love Wayne Dyer. Why don't we do a little bit of sub-targeting here? Things like that. So there's a lot of ways that you can play around with it. But at the end of the day, you can use Facebook to build an audience and reach specific parts of that audience, depending on what serves your purposes. Yeah.
So we got just about 5 minutes
Okay.
more, max, and so, yep.
So, right now, I'm just like,
Yes.
Yeah.
because of what you just said, I have my business page and my personal page, and I
Right.
already have a VA posting to my business page once a day,
Okay.
because I am not a techie, I don't like being on the computer too
Right.
long.
Yeah.
I get sucked in for different things, and now you're talking about pages for every different kind of therapy.
No, I wouldn't. I would have one page for all of the, so describe to me so I can get a
So
conceptual.
my business is Mind and Body Method.
Okay.
I do aromatherapy, I
Mhm.
do energy work called Healing Touch, I do guided imagery,
Okay,
I'm an integrated care consultant for facilities
right.
to bring it in. So all of that, about all these different things on.
So the only one there where I would have consider something separate is the part where you're consulting, because that really is a very different audience. But all the other ones, I mean, mind, body, that's true, right? That all falls under a very simple umbrella. And then when you want to, when your page gets larger, you can then say, hey, I only want to target people interested in energy work who are fans of my page for this ad and offer. And people who are only interested in aromatherapy on my page, I'll target them for this aromatherapy offer. So
Facebook can tease that out.
yeah, you can tease out what people are interested in and connected to your page. So there isn't a need to make a ton of pages because what you just described, most of it is really under one umbrella. And someone who likes one of your services will absolutely love one of your other ones once they come to know, like, and trust you. So I would have no concerns about that at all, except for the consulting piece. And that may not even be appropriate for a Facebook page, right? I mean, it depends on your business and how you connect and whether that's more word of mouth. Right, yeah. So, that sounds more like word of mouth or Google Ads are both kind of places where I think that might do a little bit better for reaching people. So yeah, don't worry. You're good.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a little bit behind, but didn't Facebook limit the number of people you could have on your fan page or your business page or followers or something?
They only limited the number, for a while, they limited the number of friends you could have on a personal profile.
Right.
But they have not limited the number of fans you can have connected to a page. Yeah,
Business
a
page,
business
yeah.
page can have, millions,
Sounds good.
yeah.
I got to tell you, and I don't know if you guys realize this, some people forget this, but the fundamental thing that I just, even for the first 3 years of Facebook, is when we talk about your profile page, that's not your page. Everybody has a profile page, but then you can create as many business pages as you want, right? And then they treat them differently, right? They treat because so many people say, gosh, my page, when you say my page, well, wait a minute, is that your personal profile page or is that your business page? Because some people try to market just from their personal page by just posting stuff, right? Does that make sense? Yeah, versus ads.
And for smaller businesses where it's really, where your clients are your friends, small coaching business, it's fine to do it on your personal profile
right,
because
exactly.
You'll get a lot of word of mouth stuff. But the second you want to reach people with ads and serve larger numbers of people outside your circle, you have to have a Facebook business page that you can then use for the advertising and the content and all that stuff. But some people will thrive on just a small profile because it's all word of mouth for certain people's businesses.
Right.
But this is not a word of mouth business here
Right,
that you're all
exactly.
building. So, yeah.
Any final burn questions? There's been a lot. I know it's been a lot. It's he's such a wealth of information. It's incredible. Blows our mind. It's great. But any final burn questions or?
Yes,
Do you get this a lot?
yes.
Do you get this a
It
lot?
it is a fire hose, and that's why I wanted to be mindful not to teach the how-to.
Right. So smart.
And
Yeah,
really
so
think
smart.
about, if I throw a fire hose at you with all of this stuff, the key parts are going to go right into your unconscious. And the key parts are going to come up when you're ready to do your Facebook ads. And then you'll have some notes you can follow up with as well. But changing how you think about Facebook ads was my only goal today.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can see it can be easy, it can be cheap, and it can be 100% service oriented so that it's done in a way that people love you. And if that's all you got from today, that is exactly my 100% goal. And everything else is a bonus.
Well, I just want to thank you because the only thing I put ads up there for was for events.
Right.
Now I'm learning that was all wrong, and I only did like $10 or something.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Whatever, so I'm not like pouring a bunch of money into it, but now I understand where to really start.
Yeah, start with the video content and connecting. You do that, they're gonna love you, and then any event you run, right? You can use that audience for multiple ads over time, right? So if they've watched your video 5 minutes through, then maybe 1 month you're offering your free live event that's online. Maybe another time it's a free live event in person where you only target people who are near your geographic region. Maybe another time you're targeting with the energy work. Maybe you do one video about energy work and you target those people with energy work, and you do another video about aromatherapy and you target those people with aromatherapy. You have so many options when you just start doing content and focusing on that first. $1 a day, if your video is actually engaging and connecting, $1 a day is going to get you a lot of videos, a lot of video watches, and build that audience. $5 a day will be probably overwhelming for a small page, but then you start advertising to other people's audiences, other aromatherapy audiences with that video, and you let them get to know you, right? So suddenly, is there anybody who's really well known in your industry for what they do, either aromatherapy, energy healing, any of the stuff you do? Is there anyone who's just really well known for that?
Barbara Brown does energy work.
Barbara Brown?
Barbara
Brennan. Okay, so she may have an interest on Facebook. It may be possible to target her. You can definitely target people interested in energy work, right? That is absolutely there. And Reiki and all of chakras and all the things that are close enough, if they're not exact, right? You could target all those people with your content video so they get to know you without even liking your page. Some of them will like your page, but here's the cool thing. Once they have watched your video, whether they like your page or not, you can still retarget them and still have them come to your links and promote your events and everything else. They don't have to be your fan once they've watched this video.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, we've got a final burning question,
Okay.
and then we've got
Let's do it.
to move on.
So in the free content video,
Yes.
do you ever do a call to action to share? Do you ever
You
add
can.
that?
You can totally
Is
do
is
that. Yeah, I mean, it's
people
yeah.
gonna do it anyway, or can
Some
you-
people
if you
will
like
do
this,
it.
Share this. Or
Right,
something
yeah,
like this,
you can
call
definitely do that. Some of the ads I've done even say like it, love it, share it, little things. So you can do that, and especially at the end of the video, it works really well. Frank Kern does this beautifully in his videos. He says, hey, I just want to keep helping you. If you've enjoyed this video, please go ahead and share it with your friends who have this problem, right? And suddenly you're getting people who have that exact problem who are sharing it with other people who have that exact problem. Your target audience gets shared. So yes, a call to action
That's
is
where
great.
Everything goes exponential.
Right.
The dollar you spend.
Yeah, but when you frame it from a generosity perspective of, I've given you this thing, I hope it has helped you. If it has helped you, right? The if part, right? I mean, they've watched 10 minutes, it obviously helped them. But the idea is if it did help you, then please share it with other people who need help with this. In my emails, I often, a different context, right? But I send out emails to my audience regularly, and sometimes I send out inspirational videos, and then I'll put a PS. PS, be sure to share this with people who will like it. They'll thank you, right? And everybody loves to be thanked for sharing good stuff. So again, I love to use persuasion in my emails to get people to do things that are in their best interests. In that spirit, I will leave you with one book recommendation, which is called Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. It's by Robert Cialdini, and he is the godfather of persuasion in our industry. And he teaches exactly the science behind persuasion, what works, what doesn't, why it works, why it doesn't, with tons of examples across decades of studies. And it's changed my life personally and professionally. I'm a much better parent persuading my 11-year-old son to do things that are in his best interests. But as a marketer, I can understand where the line is between manipulation and integrity and persuasion and influence, right? Influence.
The author again is what?
Robert is his first name. Last name is Cialdini, Cialdini. And it is the only marketing book that I say, hands down, everyone should 100% read. Because when you know how to influence ethically, then all your ads get better, your content gets better, your webinar gets better, your emails get better. People love you more, right? For me, likability is one of my biggest persuasion influencers, right? People like me, I'm a likable person. That's a key influence thing. Reciprocity, I give so much that people want to give back, right? That is actually something that's been manipulated in the past. I'll give you $1, 5 minutes later, I know you're gonna do what I want, right? They've studied it. They know that if you give someone something in advance, they want to give back, right? If I did that to manipulate, then I would not feel very good. But when I give from the generosity of my heart, and I know that that is what influences people the most to like me, then I can use that influence in an ethical way. So that book, hands down, phenomenal. The one marketing book everybody should read.
Beautiful.
So
Thank you, Chris. Wow, round of applause.